Hi, this is Nelsie, the Rondout rower. This is a short presentation about all the Coast Guard markings and tides and currents on the creek and how they can help guide your travel on the waterway. First of all, this is where my reach is in New York State, just 2 hours north of New York City, north of Poughkeepsie, and south of Albany. What is a reach? In practical use, a reach is just any length of a stream or river. The term is often used by hydrologists when they're referring to a small section of a waterway rather than its entire length. The Hudson River is 315 miles long, and the Rondout Creek is 63 miles long. In the case of the reach, or my reach, it is the span of the Rondout Creek from Eddyville, New York in the west to where it joins the Hudson River to the northeast, approximately 4 miles, around the lighthouse, and then west of the Kingston tanks to Kingston Point Beach. Here, to the lighthouse, past the tanks, and at the beach. Okay, now let's talk about those markers and buoys. Responsible boaters who have taken the New York State boating safety course are familiar with Coast Guard markings and buoys on our waterways. Rowers don't generally know these things, so this presentation can fill the gap. Or go to the end to see a link to the New York State boating safety course. The markers begin on the jetty from the lighthouse. Even numbers are red on the north side, and odd numbers are green on the south side of the channel. When entering the channel, you need to stay on the right side, just like driving a car on the highway. Entry starts with number 1 at the end there, then it goes to 4 across, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then there are no markers or buoys until you are west of the Wirt Street Bridge. Here, that's red nun 12 and green can 13. Then you see markers again on approaching Goomera Island as you go to Eddyville. Okay, again, the top point at the right holds marker number 1. It's a green marker. And the first marker to the west of the lighthouse is actually number 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as I said before. So here is number 1 marker at the entrance to the Rondout Creek. The cormorants love to hang out on it. Here are rowers heading towards the lighthouse as they pass the jetty markers. See the green marker number 9 on the right over the shoulder of the rower, and then that's the first marker west of the lighthouse, which is number 4. So as we said earlier, the next marker you will see is west of the Wirt Street Bridge, red nun 12 here. It is on your right as you're facing Eddyville, in the direction of Eddyville. Green can 13 is on the other side of the yacht basin, and you'll see that in the next picture. Just so you know, Red buoys are called nuns and have a triangular top. Floating green buoys are called cans and have a square or flat top. When rowing in the direction of a red buoy, the area to the right of it, the rower's starboard side, is to be avoided. The left side is the channel. The saying is red right returning. This means when traveling towards the source of the waterway, in this case Eddyville Falls, make sure the red buoy is on your right. Because rowers travel backwards, the red buoy is on the left or starboard side. This being the stern of this boat, this is indeed on the left, the starboard side. So here we are in the Rondout Yacht Basin, and we see green can 13, red nun 12 is over there on the opposite side, and we are west of the Wirt Street Bridge. After green buoy 13, there are no buoys until you are past Feeney's, where you start to see red and green buoys to lead you to the Eddyville Bridge and keep you off the mud flats on the left. This is the next buoy to the west, green can 15. When facing a green buoy, the area to the left of it, a rower's port side, is to be avoided. The channel is to the right of it. This is the next buoy heading to Eddyville. This is a mystery buoy. It says danger on it. It does not belong to the Coast Guard, but it is warning boats about the mudflats near Gumer Island, there to the left. It actually disappeared in the mud for a year or so, and then one day just popped back up. If you want to know more about navigating these markers, check out the video link at the end page of this presentation. Okay, now let's talk about tides and currents on the creek. If you go to the rondoutrower.com page, you will see the tides and currents report each morning before 6 a.m. It tells you what to expect when you go rowing throughout the reach. Currents change every 6 hours, more or less. Slack current means the water is more calm, more still, making it easier to navigate. But always take note of the wind. Windy conditions cancel any benefit you can get from slack current. Ebb current is when the water flows towards the sea, in our case east towards the lighthouse or south towards Poughkeepsie. Flood current is when the tide flows inland, in our case towards Eddyville or north towards Albany on the Hudson. Let's examine a visual representation of the tides and currents. The vertical axis displays the amount of variation, tide rise or fall, which is approximately 4 feet throughout the reach. The horizontal axis displays the time. Here it starts with 5 a.m. and moves right to 10 p.m. Notice high tide and low tide. The closer you are to the peak or the trough of the wave, the faster the current moves, around 2 knots. Here the tide is dropping, ebbing. Here it's rising, flooding. In between the peak and the trough are the slack currents. Slack currents last around 3 hours. The first slack current is then from about 9 a.m. and goes to noon. When it is low tide, I have a hard time launching my boat off this ramp. At high tide, the boat is easily submerged and I can step on it quickly. If you want to know more about tides, check out the link about how tides work on the final page of this presentation. When there has been a new moon and it is low tide, the beach is very wide. It makes for an interesting, dreamy picture. This is Kingston Point Beach at sunrise. The large stones are actually old bricks from the Hutton brickyards nearby. It's an early and cloudy day. I'm on the Kingston City docks under the Wirt Street Bridge, ready to launch the TS 515 for a morning row. I hope this has been helpful, and if so, please give me a thumbs up, shoot me an email, or leave me some comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hope to see you on the water, and be safe. Don't forget, the links I mentioned are on the next page. Here are the links that I talked about in the presentation. Hope you enjoy them. Thanks again.